Welcome to Rogers Center for the opening of the three-game series between the Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles. A nice night. The roof is opening as we speak. It's almost completely open right now. Big stretch of games for the Jays with the Orioles, then the Red Sox, then the Yankees, then the best team in baseball so far this year, the Houston Astros. And this big stretch will kick off with the right-hander Joe Biagini getting the start of the first game of this series. The field level action cam is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy S8. Unbox your phone. Biagini, who of course started the year with the bullpen. This will be his 10th start of the season for the Blue Jays. And as mentioned, kicks off a big stretch of games, not only for the Blue Jays, for the Baltimore Orioles as well. The Orioles got off to a great start this year, Tabby, but they've been giving up runs like crazy, and they're just a game ahead of the Blue Jays right now. Let's check out the starting lineup right now for the Baltimore Orioles. We know they can hit. Everybody who watches this team knows that they can really get you, especially with the long ball. Jonathan Schoop's got power, 4 home runs in his last 8 games. And Trey Mancini about as hot as any hitter around right now, and he has tormented the Blue Jays in games between the two teams this year.
They have had some injuries to some of their regulars, but that is still a very dangerous offense that the Baltimore Orioles will throw out there. It's up to Joe Biagini tonight with his 10th start of the season. Is coming off a win versus Texas when he allowed 4 runs to the Rangers and pitching into the 6th inning. That was just his 2nd win of the season and his first since May the 12th, a span of 6 starts. This is his first career start versus Baltimore. He has made 4 relief appearances against them this year and 12 overall in his career, and has a scoreless streak of 9 innings dating back to last season versus the Baltimore Orioles.
Defensively behind Biagini tonight, Steve Pearce, Kevin Pillar, Jose Bautista in the outfield, Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Darwin Barney at second, Justin Smoke at first, Russell Martin behind the plate.
And Darwin gets the start tonight with Kevin Gausman on the mound. He's got great numbers against him, hitting over 400 against him. Just his 13th start at second base. Ryan Goins normally would start against the right-hander. He is off. Darwin Barney will get the start tonight for the Blue Jays.
All right, ready to go here at Rogers Center. Angel Hernandez is the home plate umpire tonight. At first, Quinn Wolcott, Chad Whitson at second, and the crew chief Ted Barrett is at third. Seth Smith, the leadoff man for the Orioles, their right fielder, hitting .264, 8 home runs on the season. And underway with a pitch into the knees for called strike 1. Roof was closed during batting practice. They just opened it about half an hour ago, and pretty nice decision. It looks like it's beautiful out right now.
It feels great. It feels like baseball weather. Seth Smith, not your typical leadoff hitter, but look at that on-base percentage at .343. There's not your atypical guy anymore in the baseball at the leadoff position. So Buck Showalter's got to deal with that, and he's got his high on-base percentage guy at the top of the lineup.
Ground ball out. Barney makes the play on to Smoke, and Biagini gets a quick out of Smith. Now we'll face Manny Machado. And universally acknowledged, Tabby, as you know, is one of the best players in the game, but it hasn't been a typical Machado year, hitting just .228. The power has been there, and the average has been moving up. He's been hitting a bit better lately.
Yes, he has. He's been hitting the ball a little harder to all fields. He's got that great reach. He can handle that ball away from him. This is one of the best players in all of baseball. We'll talk about his defense when the Blue Jays are hitting. He is fun to watch.
He's part of that big free agent class after the 2018 season. After next year, as you can see, last 9 games doing better, hitting .343 with power. Good curveball there by Biagini, and it's 0-2.
That was the pitch that he was throwing and hitting on in Texas when he pitched into the 6th inning against the Rangers. His fastball was down. He was able to move it all around the strike zone, but it was the curveball, I thought, that really kept the Rangers off of his fastball.
Last time out against Texas, 5 2/3, 4 earned runs on 7 hits, walked 1, struck out 5. As he misses outside with a cut fastball, ball 1. Biagini's really had 2 starts that got away from him. 4 innings, gave up 6 runs, 5 earned back in May against Atlanta. And then the really ugly one against the White Sox, just 1+ innings, gave up 7 runs, 6 earned. Other than that, really solid.
And you know where the problems were in both of those? First inning. He could not throw strikes, couldn't get into a rhythm, couldn't find home plate, had some big first innings in those games. Atlanta torched him up for a few. I remember Suzuki hit a big home run. We did that game down there. And then, of course, the White Sox game, just couldn't throw strikes.
First inning's been a problem for the Blue Jays. Their team ERA in the first inning this year is 6.12, which is the highest or worst in the American League. Now, generally, a lot of runs are scored in the first inning. The best hitters are coming up all the time in the first inning, but that's still awfully high, and it's the worst in the league. Up the middle, but Barney is there. 2 down.
You know, and a pitcher is trying to find his rhythm. You can warm up and have the best warm up down in that bullpen and then come into the ball game and just feel like you've never thrown a pitch before in your life. That's happened before. It's happened to Joe a couple of times this year, but so far so good.
Be interesting to see, and this is probably still a couple of weeks away, but how it plays out when Aaron Sanchez comes back, and he's getting closer. He'll go back into the rotation at some point, unless they go with 6. A turn or 2 around the rotation. Somebody's got to come out. Here's Jonathan Schoop, the second baseman. 295, 15 home runs. Big time power from one of the middle infield spots.
Have you stood next to this guy? He's huge.
Sneaky big, huh?
And loves facing the Blue Jays.
Yep.
Says he loves hitting in this ballpark.
Lines it to left field, and that is down for a base hit in front of Pierce. A 2-out single for Schoop.
They tried to run that fastball upstairs, but he just couldn't get it up high enough. Threw it right into the wheelhouse of Jonathan Schoop. Russell Martin sets that target up high, but this one belt high right over the middle. You got to pitch a lot of these Orioles. Hard stuff up and in, slow breaking balls. They are a good hitting team with a lot of home run potential.
So a base runner for the Orioles is Adam Jones, the longtime center fielder for Baltimore, comes up hitting .270, 13 home runs. There is power up and down the lineup for the Orioles, who last year led the majors in home runs, 253 on the season. This year they are 7th in the major leagues in home runs. Both of these teams really rely on the home run ball. In fact, the Blue Jays rely on it more than anybody else. 52% of their runs come on homers. That is number 1 in baseball. The Orioles about 48%. That's number 4 in baseball.
Last year in June, the Baltimore Orioles set a record with home runs, a major league record. They hit 56 home runs last season in the month of June. They're up to 40 this year, so they're starting to hit them once again. That's without Chris Davis and without J.J. Hardy.
Yet they are a game out of 500 in large part due to their starting pitching, which has been in a rut for several weeks and was seen as a potential weakness coming into the season. Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball down and away, and a good block there by Martin to keep Schoop at first.
Well, Joe's jumping ahead. That's a good sign. He got ahead of Machado before he retired him. Jumped ahead of Schoop. He's ahead of Jones. That's the whole key to pitching. Throw strikes. When he gets into trouble, he can't find the strike zone. Good sign here in the first inning. Jumping ahead of these guys.
One-two. And a changeup fouled off by Jones. Biagini mixing in all of his pitches here in the first inning.
Normally you wouldn't want to show everybody your whole full arsenal in the first inning. You might want to try and get him out with fastballs, save that breaking ball, or save that changeup for tough situations later in the game. But when you've got power up and down the lineup like the Baltimore Orioles do, maybe you have to survive. Looks like it's going to be a cutter.
Down and away, 2-2. Biagini collecting himself out of the mound, glancing over his left shoulder, just reminding himself of the presence of Schoop at first.
Baltimore Orioles are not a running team.
No.
So you don't have to worry about them trying to steal bases. Concentrate on that hitter.
2-2 fouled back. The Orioles, to your point, Tabby, on the season have 16 stolen bases. The Blue Jays don't run a ton. They got 29, but the Orioles with 16, that is the lowest in all of baseball.
Yeah, Buck Showalter knows that. His team's about walks and home runs. It's not about stolen bases.
Schoop without a steal on the season. Angel Hernandez doing a little groundskeeping out in front of the plate.
Oh, look at everybody's picking up something like Adam Jones maybe lost his necklace. It broke around home plate.
Russell Martin's oh, he did. Russell Martin's laughing at him.
They're still picking up pieces in front of home plate and the other batter's box.
So we didn't notice before. I guess he had 2 on. Right now he's putting pieces in his pocket. This is something you don't see every day, huh? Biagini has to wait out a jewelry delay here at Rogers Center. Two again. And it's in the dirt. A full count. Throw down to first. Runner back. And Jones has worked the count full. Pitch count climbing a little bit on Biagini now. And Schoop will get a running start on the pitch.
3-2 again. He was 3-2 on Manny Machado from 0-2 to 3-2. 2 of the 4 hitters he jumped ahead 0-2 and they forced it back to 3-2.
Smokes still holding on. Schoop at first, and again he'll be running on the pitch. There he goes. 3-2, and it is ball 4. So 2 men on for the Orioles now. Now, as we mentioned, the first inning's been a problem for the Blue Jays. They have been scored upon first 45 of their 75 games. They fall behind more often than not, and they give up some damage in the first inning.
Think about what that does to the offense, always having to play catch up when you're behind early. Where do the Blue Jays go? Something like 6 or 7 straight games where the opposition scored first against them. Put some pressure on that offense.
Been a far different story. The rotation last year, not as good as any in the American League. Great numbers. Blue Jays played with a lead a lot, but some injuries, some inconsistency in the rotation this year, and they've been playing from behind. And now, with 2 men on, Biagini's got to face Mark Trumbo, who led the majors last year with 47 home runs. Has 10 so far this year.
Curveball low. Trumbo just had a hit taken away from him the other day. Smashed the ball at the shortstop down in Tampa Bay. Originally it was called a hit. It was just changed to an error. Look, Showalter was saying before the ball game that's 4 times this year that Trumbo's lost
really?
hits that were originally hits and changed after the fact. He will fight for his players more than anybody, and there's nothing he could do about that. He said Trumbo's such a good guy, he's not going to go out there and fight the ruling.
Trumbo, a free agent in the offseason, re-signed with the Orioles to a 3-year deal. There was so many right-hand hitting power hitters, first base, corner, outfielder, DH types out of the market in the offseason. Trumbo's a guy who, like a lot of them, probably had to wait a little bit longer than they thought they would before they could sign a deal with somebody.
The 2 home run champs had to wait it out, didn't they? Chris Carter, had to wait out his deal. He's been released by the Yankees. Trumbo took him a long time to sign, but this is a good place for him. In this lineup, he can DH, play some first base or the outfield when they need him. Just sit back there and try and hit home runs.
Lined hard left center field, and Pillar's going to have to play it off the wall. 1 run is home. Rounding third is Jones. He's on the way home. Throw is not in time, and the Orioles scored twice after 2 men were out here in the top of the first.
Two very quick outs. Ground balls to Darwin Barney. 2 outs, nobody on. Ahead of Schoop, he loses him for a hit. He was ahead of Adam Jones and lost him on a walk. And then Mark Trumbo came about 3 feet from hitting a 3-run home run. It's a sinker from Biagini, but it doesn't sink. Stays over the middle of the plate. And you can see Trumbo, he doesn't have to swing hard. Just use his hands. He's got such power. Line drive off the wall. And the Blue Jays had a shot here. Pilar to Tulowitzki to Martin, but Jones beats the throw. And the Blue Jays have to come from behind once again, as the Orioles are the first team to score.
So it looked like it had the potential to be a very quick inning for Joe Biagini, as you mentioned, Tabby. A couple of quick ground ball outs, but then a Schoop base hit, a Jones walk after Biagini was out in front 0-2. That might be what he looks back on more than anything else in the inning. And then a 2-run double off the bat of Mark Trumbo. This is Trey Mancini. Mancini, maybe not a household name for Blue Jays fans, but he has been on a tear. He's hitting over 400 his last 16 games. He's got a ton of power. 14 home runs on the season, despite not being quite an everyday player. Homered both Saturday and Sunday in the Orioles' just completed series against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, we talk about this Baltimore Oriole team hitting a lot of home runs, but you know what else they do, Dan? They hit with runners in scoring position. This is the guy right here, Trey Mancini, who leads everybody in the American League hitting with runners in scoring position. It's a mindset.
Yep. And the Orioles as a team, #1 in the American League in batting average with runners in scoring position. Blue Jays way down near the bottom.
So when you're not hitting home runs, and you're not going to hit home runs all the time, you're going to go into slumps or run into some good pitching. You better come up with some hits, 2-out hits.
It's not just how well you hit, sometimes it's when you do that hitting, and the Orioles have 3 of the top 4 in the American League in a batting average with runners in scoring.
And take a look at those numbers. 442 for Mancini, 382 for Schoop, 380 for Adam Jones. When I talk about it's a mindset, it's a confidence thing. You're not going to be pressured. You put the pressure on that pitcher, he's got to come to you. You don't try and overdo things. It's a Baltimore Oriole team that's got some veterans. Jones and Smith, Machado, he's a veteran now. Trumbo.
There for a strike and a full count now on Mancini. A lot of extra work having to be done by Joe Biagini here in the first, and he's already given up a couple of runs. Wellington Castillo on deck should the inning continue. Up to 27 pitches now when the Blue Jays trailing early. 3-2. Got him swinging on the curveball to end it. But not before Mark Trumbo makes Biagini pay. 2-out, 2-run double, and the Orioles strike early. A 2-0 score. New look lineup, of course, over the last 5-6 games or so, with Jose Bautista hitting in the leadoff spot, Russell Martin up into the 2 spot, trying to generate a little bit more offense. Justin Smoak's generating offense just fine, isn't he, on a 10-game hitting streak and hitting .371 over that stretch. And down near the bottom of the order, Darwin Barney. Kevin Gausman gets hurt more by right-handed batters, so that's why he's in there again instead of Ryan Goins. Plus, Barney's got some very good head-to-head numbers against Gausman.
It's been a struggle lately for Kevin Gausman. He is winless over his last 3 starts. He's looking for his first win, actually, since May the 31st. His ERA in the month of June, 4 starts, it's over 8. But he pitched better in his last outing. That was against the Indians. He struck out a season-high 9. This is the Blue Jays' 4th series versus Baltimore, and the 4th time that they will face Gausman. He's 1-0 against them this year with a .260 earned run average.
Which is amazing considering his overall numbers on the season, a .647 ERA, but he's got a .260 ERA in 3 starts against the Blue Jays this year. Bautista in his 6th game in the leadoff spot this year. Remember, he did it for about 40 games last year. And in his first 5 games up there, Bautista is 8 for 21 and has an on-base percentage of .480.
Yeah, he does something to this team offensively to ignite them. 27 and 18 with Bautista batting first since the start of last season. They're only 4 games over 500 over the last 2 years when he's not in the leadoff spot.
As you never would have guessed that a guy like Jose Bautista or Anthony Rizzo for the Cubs, who's been leading off, that guys, you know, they were always 3 or 4 hitters. Then the trend became, well, put guys like that in the 2 spot, but now even occasionally you see it in the 1 spot. Little looper going to drop in for a base hit, and Bautista's aboard to lead off the inning. Defensively for the Orioles, Kim, Jones, and Smith left to right in the outfield. Machado, Giannis at short, Hardy on the DL, Scope at second, and Mancini at first with Davis on the DL, Castillo catching.
One of the best in the business we get to watch over the next 3 nights. Manny Machado at third base. He's made 7 errors, got a .964 fielding percentage. But Buck Showalter says nobody makes the double play better than him. He's got one of the best arms in all of baseball. He can throw from any angle. I think that's what makes him so special.
Here's Russell Martin hitting in the 2 spot. 227 home runs overall on the season. Has been very patient lately. Teams have not been throwing him a lot of strikes, and he's taken 10 walks in his last 7 games.
That was the whole idea. He has a couple of guys at the top of that lineup with high on base percentages. So when Donaldson, Smoak come up, there's guys on base for him.
Sent foul down the right side, 0-2. You like this look for the lineup? You like how it's situated now? Yeah.
For now, because the Blue Jays needed to do something.
Yep.
They were not scoring any runs. They weren't manufacturing anything. They're still not really manufacturing runs, but they've had opportunities. Hitting and runners in scoring position has still been a big problem for them.
The 0-2. And Martin fights it off. Justin Smoak hitting in the cleanup spot. That was another one of the changes a few days ago in a 10-game hitting streak, putting together a terrific season. Bautista aboard on a leadoff bloop single into center, but now Martin trying to hang in with an 0-2 count. Now, is that indecision on the part of Gausman, or does he think Bautista might be gone? And Jose does have 4 steals, but
yeah, you're down by 2 runs in the first inning. You're not going to go anywhere. I've seen pitchers throw over to first base numerous times. They didn't want to throw home.
Right. Gausman is a former first-round pick by the Orioles, 4th overall back in 2012, but this year just not his year. Last year had a .361 ERA in 30 starts. This year .647 ERA, and on the road he's 1-4 with an ERA of 9.
He had a big second half last year, and they were expecting big things this year. It just hasn't clicked for him yet. fastball command. That's been the problem. He just has not been able to command the ball, especially away to right-handers. That glove side fastball has been a problem for him.
Yeah, reverse splits. As Jamie Campbell mentioned off the top of the show, Kevin Gausman, meaning that righties hit him better than lefties. Righties are hitting .371 against Kevin Gausman this year. Blue Jays loading up on righties.
Well, they've tried a couple of different things, and one of the things he did a couple of starts ago was move to the first base side of that pitching rubber. Remember, he was over towards the third base side, and it was almost a crossfire thrown against his body, and he wasn't able to get to that outside corner or that glove side. So Roger McDowell and the Orioles have moved him over to that first base side of that pitching rubber, hoping that he can get it to the outside corner.
Martin putting together a pretty good at bat here.
This is what we've been seeing from Russell since they moved him into that second hole. Long at bats, see a lot of pitches, foul off some tough pitches.
Coach Jacoby, the hitting coach for the Blue Jays, looking on from the third base dugout. Orioles got 2 on Joe Biagini, top of the first. Blue Jays trying to answer. Good take, and it's a full count. Josh Donaldson waiting on deck. Tim Leeper, the first base coach, whispering something in the ear of Jose Bautista. You wouldn't expect him to be running here, would you?
I wouldn't. The last thing you want to have now is a strike him out, throw him out, or a line drive double play.
He is not going, and Martin pulls it foul. Not the kind of graphic that Kevin Gausman wants to be on. 2 of his teammates actually have an ERA over 8 on the season, but they haven't thrown enough innings to qualify. So among qualifiers, Gausman's ERA is the highest.
And with his stuff, that's what's shocking. A fastball in the upper 90s, an outstanding split. He's given up the second most hits in the American League behind Rick Porcello.
Martin hits a double play ball to short, and the Orioles will turn it. They don't come much more tailor-made than that, so that leaves 2 outs and the base is empty for Josh Donaldson. Donaldson at .280 on the season, 8 homers and 20 runs driven in. And his new home, at least for the time being, is the 3 spot in the order.
I think he's a key guy in this Blue Jay attack right here. Whenever he hits, it seems like the Blue Jays score a lot of runs. He's hitting in the perfect spot. He's going to have guys on base in front of him, and Bautista and Martin. He's got some producers behind him. Last 10 games, 10 strikeouts for Josh. He's put together a couple good at bats in Kansas City. I don't know if you had a chance to see some of that. They tried to pitch him away, and he stuck with it and drove in a couple of runs, hitting the ball the other way. But Josh is about power and extra base hits.
Skies one to right field. Smith there, and that's the inning. Leadoff base hit erased on the double play. End of 1 at Rogers Center, when the Orioles lead 2-0.
for assignment earlier this afternoon. The veteran reliever's struggles have been well documented. 26 appearances, an ERA hovering at 7, and 9 home runs allowed. Now, I spoke to Grilli last week about his rough first half of the season, and he told me, quote, "Everybody knows my highs. My highs are what they are when I'm out there. I take pride in my work, and my lows are equally the same. I feel that pain." Grilli also told me that as far as his childhood team goes, he's always wanted to be a contributor. He wanted to be an asset. He never wanted to be a liability. Grilli had a message for his fans across the country on social media. He said he wanted to thank them for what he called such a warm embrace. And Dan, leave it to Grilli to be a team player right till the end. As you see here, that's a handwritten message for his teammates. Stay in the fight. And those 4 words have become a newfound hashtag for Jays fans looking for a little inspiration the rest of the way.
Hazel, great stuff. He's one of the good guys, one of the guys you root for. And John Gibbons saying before the game he hopes somebody picks Grilli up, that Grilli still wants to pitch, and he hopes somebody gives him a shot. Did a lot for the Blue Jays last year. There's no denying that. And one of a number of roster moves made by the Blue Jays today. They also sent Dwight Smith Jr. back down to the minors, optioned him to AAA. Ezekiel Carrera is back already from the broken bone in his foot, was gone only 2 weeks. And Chris Smith, the right-handed reliever, takes Grilli's spot on the roster. Smith comes from Buffalo, and his first appearance with the Blue Jays will be his major league debut.
One of the first things that Jason Grilli did when he came here in that trade, some of the relievers were walking out. One was walking out at this time, one was walking out that time. He said, "Nuh-uh, guys, we are a team. We are the bullpen. We will walk out before the ball game together as a team." Just brought everybody together.
Diving stop, Barney. Long throw right on the money to get Wellington Castillo.
Well, that's why we picked him. He's a former Gold Glover playing behind the bag. 5 years ago, this is going to be a base hit from Wellington Castillo right back through the box, but with the shift on, Darwin Barney's in the right position. Just to the right of second base. Watch the jump. Over on the other side of the bag, and then from there, after he catches it, that's an easy toss. Good play.
Being an infielder is just such a different thing than it was 20 years ago, with all the shifts, all the different plays, angles, throws.
Barty, look at the concentration as the ball finds his mitt, catches it, and again from there it's easy. He came up as a shortstop, so that throw, that's going to be an easy throw for him. Joe Biagini appreciates the effort.
Left fielder is Hyun-Soo Kim, hitting .245 in the season for the Orioles. Last year hit over 300, hit .302. And he can fight off some pitches, foul off some pitches, just keep the at bat alive. They play him in the outfield to hit the ball to the opposite field, which he does with great regularity.
Tough to strike out, tough to walk. Will put the ball in play, struggling just a little bit over his last 6 games. Yeah, this is a guy you got to play pretty much straight up. Outfield shading him the other way.
Change up in the dirt, 2-2. You can see Pilar well over towards left center field. And Pierce a little bit over towards the line from where he would normally be.
In the infield, bunching him in the middle of the diamond.
And a good change up there from Biagini to get Kim 2 down.
Well, he's been fighting to get that changeup over. That was a pretty good one to pick up his second strikeout of the night. Joe Biagini's changeup. There it is. The super slow-mo replay is powered by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV. Joe's got those long fingers where he can bury that ball on that changeup and just let it float right out of his fingers.
Number 9 hitter is the shortstop Paul Janisch, a guy known for his glove much more than his bat. He is filling in for the injured J.J. Hardy, who's on the DL right now. Orioles without some key players. Hardy, you mentioned Chris Davis. Their closer Zach Britton has been out for an extended time, although he's starting to get closer, coming back from a forearm injury.
They think he's going to be back on the 5th. He's going to throw Thursday and Friday back-to-back days here this week, then have a day off, pitch Monday, and then be ready for Wednesday. Look, Showalter can't wait to get his closer back.
He had a year last year, Britton did, about as good as any reliever's ever had.
Gave up nothing.
Showalter in his 8th year managing the Orioles, the 4th team that he has managed in his big league career. 1-2, the count on Giannis. And a bouncing ball left side. Donaldson's got it and has time to make the play. Little juggle, recover, and fire from Donaldson as he gets Giannis, who's got decent speed, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Joe Biagini. Blue Jays coming up bottom 2, down 2-0.
This just in. Hey Canada, the Blue Jays need your help to smoke the vote and send Justin Smoak to the All-Star game. You can vote up to 5 times daily. Head to bluejays.com/vote before June 29th. And Smoak is moving on up in the balloting among American League first basemen. He's jumped from 4th place to 2nd now behind the leader, the Royals' Eric Hosmer. So get voting.
Just a couple of days left, really, just over 48 hours. You got to believe Justin Smoak's going to be there one way or the other, but wouldn't it be cool to see him start the All-Star game for the American League at first base?
He deserves to start. If you look at his numbers, look at that, 304, 20 home runs, and 48 RBIs, amongst the leaders of all the first basemen in the American League. Logan Morrison's having a good first half for the Tampa Bay Rays at first base.
Eric Hosmer's hitting .305, 9 homers, 32 RBIs for the Royals. He's the leader in the voting right now. Miguel Cabrera, I think, is 4th. Now, he's not having a vintage Miguel Cabrera season, but he's still Miguel Cabrera in terms of name value and garnering votes.
Well, if I know the Canadian fans, they're going to get out there and they're going to vote.
Yeah.
And Smokey's going to have a really good chance. Voting ends Thursday at midnight. So get out there. I think you can vote 5 times a day.
On the corner in a full count. One thing Smoak's been doing exceedingly well this year, been getting deeper into counts, not afraid to get to 2 strikes and hitting the ball to the middle of the field, to the opposite field with great authority. And he's only, what, 71,000 and change right now behind Hosmer. And that object in your rearview mirror is bigger than it appears. He's gaining on him right now.
Here he comes. His approach at the plate has been so solid. Even in spring training, you'd see him in spring training this year and you say, something's different about him. He's balanced at the plate. He used to cut himself off when he was swinging the bat. He seems so free and easy.
And he'll draw the walk.
That was a pitch that used to give him problems. This year he's been laying off of it.
So leadoff base hit for Bautista in the first. That was erased on a double play. Now a leadoff walk to Smoke in the second. And that'll bring up Kendrys Morales, the DH, hitting .262 with 15 homers. They play him to pull, but not in a full shift. The shortstop Giannis is still to the left of second base. And you can see the second baseman's scope is not all that deep and not really playing to pull all that much. The Orioles play Morales a little bit differently than some other teams do.
They're really bunching him in the middle of the diamond. I think that has to do with the runner over there at first base.
Yep.
This should be a good matchup for him. Morales, that ball is called inside. Morales can turn on the fastball. He's had problems this year and lately on teams that throw a lot of slow curveballs. Kevin Gausman doesn't have that. Gausman's pitches, everything's around the same speed. And if he gets himself into a fastball count, watch out.
There's a changeup taken down and away, and now the count in Morales' favor. 2 balls and a strike. Every now and again you'll see Morales cross up the D and hit one up the third baseline, down the left field line. He's got a lot of room if he takes the ball that way. Fastball away, 3-1.
Gausman's last start, he set a season high in strikeouts with 9. He said my fastball, which was up, was good, and my split was down. That's the separation that he's trying to achieve. Fastball's up, splitters down, so the hitter has 2 planes they have to look for the baseball.
Full count. Troy Tulowitzki waiting on deck. Smoke aboard on a leadoff walk. Blue Jays down 2-0, bottom of the second, to open up this 3-game series. Runner is going. Swing and a miss by Morales. Throw down, and Smoke is out easily. How about that? Starting Justin Smoke.
That's a surprise. John Gibbons was gambling that Morales was going to make contact. He was gambling that they'd throw him a fastball. They did. He was hoping he'd make contact. He didn't, and that's an easy toss for Wellington Castillo. Castillo now 11 for 24 in throwing out base runners. Justin Smoke is tagged. And a quick double play. Last inning it was a Bautista base hit, then a Martin double play that got him out of that inning.
Well, it's interesting. They didn't start Bautista on 3-2 with Martin batting, but they do start Smoke on 3-2 with Morales batting. And both times it backfired in effect. Ground ball double play in the first, and strike him out, throw him on double play in the second.
Yeah,
it's 0-2 on Tulowitzki.
They start Bautista. He's standing at second base. So you want to be a manager, huh? I don't.
Not particularly, no.
Devin Travis in the house.
Sidelined again after knee surgery, after just tearing the cover off the ball for about a month prior to that.
We hear the surgery was successful and no timetable, probably out for the season, but you don't know till you go in there. But we heard the surgery was a success.
Young man deserves a break at this point, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's 3 years in a row, Dan. And career 300 hitter. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field.
Gausman's got it. Off balance throw in time to get Tulowitzki and end the inning. No runs, no hits, a leadoff walk. Nothing comes of it. 2-0 Baltimore at the end of 2.
chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests from one of TD's community partners. And after 40 seasons, who would you rank the Blue Jays' 40 greatest players? All you have to do is visit sportsnet.ca to select your top 40 list. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. Top 3. Nice night. Roof open at Rogers Center. The Orioles up 2-0. With a big crowd. Blue Jays averaging almost 39,000 per game so far this season. Top of the order for the Orioles, Seth Smith, who grounded out his first time up and takes a good curveball in for a strike. Smith, a guy who basically has been labeled as a platoon player for most of his career, rarely plays against lefties, but gives you a real competitive at bat against righties. A little more power, I think, than people realize he has.
You make a mistake, you can lose it.
Got 8 on the season. Good pitching matchup going on in Washington tonight. The Cubs are playing the Nationals. Jake Arrieta, who's not had a vintage Arrieta year, mind you, he's on the mound against Max Scherzer, who's been great. And they're tied at 1 in the top of the 3rd. Cubs just 2 games over 500. Actually trail Milwaukee in the National League Central. The Brewers are the leaders in that division.
We were talking about leadoff hitters last inning. Did you happen to catch who the Cubs leadoff hitter was the other day?
Anthony Rizzo's been doing it, right? Oh, it was somebody else?
Wilson Contreras.
Really?
Yesterday or the day before, whenever I saw it in the paper. So I'm going to look today. It's Rizzo again today. But Contreras had a leadoff.
Well, you know, Joe Maddon's been doing a little bit what John Gibbons has been doing. They haven't been scoring runs like he thought they would, like many thought they would. So he's just been trying all kinds of different things to try to ignite the offense.
Why would you sit back and get beat night after night and not score any runs? You have to do something. Gibby's had some lineups. He's trying to find something that's going to kickstart this team offensively.
Curveball and a bouncer for Barney. 1 down.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Not a chance in the world.
No,
not a chance. You're much braver than I am.
Well, we did it for money. So we did it for money, and we raised, I heard, $10,000.
Yeah, for charity money, not for your own money.
No,
not charity.
Not for pocket.
Right.
My pockets. Yeah. That was for charity. Jay's Care. So that was worth it. I'll tell you what, never again. You got to do it just to say you did it.
No, actually, I don't. I can say, hey, I know a guy who did it.
I know a guy who did it. I know a guy who knows a guy.
And here's his number. You can ask him all about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, scariest thing I ever did.
I would hope so. Now to play an 0-2 on Manny Machado.
Now, I faced Nolan Ryan. That was pretty scary.
But not as scary as that.
No. I was on the ground when I faced Ryan.
Machado grounded out his first time up. And looks like he's going to do it again. Tulowitzki on the first, 2 down. Let's get an update with Jamie Campbell.
That's going to really help them. With that pitching staff that the Tampa Bay Rays have, the only problem was the defense.
Slammed down the left field line by Jonathan Schoop. Nothing Donaldson could do there. And Schoop has himself a 2-out double, his second hit of the night.
He loves facing the Blue Jays. Jonathan Schoop with his 23rd double. You mentioned the great power production that you see from the second baseman. Here's the double down the left field line. 15 home runs and now 23 doubles for Schoop. He's a .294 career hitter against the Blue Jays. That should put him up over 300 now.
So he's 2 for 2, and here's Adam Jones, walked and scored on the Trumbo double. Back in the first inning, the Orioles putting together a 2-run rally after 2 men were out with nobody on in the first inning against Biagini. Appeal to first, and he went. 0-1 the count. Jones didn't like that call. Looks like he's taken off the second necklace. He lost the first one in the first at bat, took the second one off now. And he's not so concerned about the necklace right now. He really did not like this call.
No, he was surprised when they called it out. The last guy I want to get mad is Adam Jones.
Yep. Base hit into left field. On his way to third, heading home, Schoop, and again the Orioles do some damage. With 2 outs in an inning, they now lead 3-0.
That's why I don't want to get him mad, because he just seems to turn it up a notch. We talked about the runners in scoring position. Mancini was number 1, Schoop was 3. Well, the guy hitting 4th in the American League at .380 is Adam Jones. Sinker that goes down and in and catches too much of the plate. Look how he pulls his hands in. He's able to get the barrel of the bat on that baseball. Rip it into left field. Scoring Schoop.
You know, for whatever reason, Biagini did not have issues with runners in scoring position as a reliever, but he has had terrible issues in these situations as a starter. As Trumbo takes a curveball for a strike. Coming into the game, when Biagini has been a starter this year, the opposition is hitting .415 against him with runners in scoring position, and they've added to those numbers tonight. Trumbo with a 2-run double, Jones with an RBI single. So it's as if he'll sail along, he's doing well, everything's going fine, but then when he gets in a jam, he has trouble getting out of it. Popped up back of the plate, and a sliding attempt to no avail from Russell Martin.
And that shouldn't be, because his stuff really plays either as a starter or as a reliever. Now the numbers tell us differently. As a reliever, his ERA is .338. His whip is good. His strikeouts are higher. His opponent's risk, there's the number you were just talking about, .286 as a reliever. Short dosage out of the bullpen, more of a starter. You got to pace yourself, try to go a little bit longer in the ball game.
And if Sanchez comes back and stays healthy and everybody else is right, certainly Biagini could definitely wind up back in the bullpen. Right?
I'm sure that's going to be the play. Yeah. Nobody is really saying when Aaron's going to be back, but things are starting to point up for him.
Bouncer to short. Tulowitzki with plenty of time. That'll end the inning. The Orioles, though, cash in another runner. Going bottom 3, now lead the Blue Jays 3-0. Available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Well, the Baltimore Orioles in a real rough stretch with their starting pitching. In fact, and this streak ended recently, but they went 20 consecutive games where as a team they gave up 5 or more runs, tying a record held by the Philadelphia Phillies sent way back in the 1920s. Their rotation specifically since June the 4th. That's not a typo. Their ERA as a rotation for about 3.5 weeks is over 9. And one of the big reasons why the Orioles, who were leading the division early in the year, now just a game ahead of the Blue Jays for 4th.
Not a lot of breaks in their schedule either. Buck Showalter was saying today that they just finished 33 games in 34 days. That'll put a little stress on your starters, won't it? Dylan Bundy has pitched really well for him. Chris Tillman hasn't been very good this year. He started the season on the disabled list, and he's taken some time to get into the flow of the season.
Aldo Jimenez has not had a good year either. Blue Jays will see him later in the series.
Wade Miley. We get Wade Miley tomorrow, the left-hander.
2-2 the count on Steve Pearce. The former Oriole was with Baltimore for part of the 2012 season and then all of 13, 14, 15, part of 16. Pearce 3 for 5 in his career against Gausman, and again righties have hit Gausman much better than lefties this year, but not in this situation right here. That's out number 1.
That looked like it might have been the splitter that Gausman has. When he is commanding that and getting it close enough, it becomes a real weapon for him. He's got a fastball mid to upper 90s. There's the split. Watch how it comes out of his hand like a changeup, and when the rotation makes it go down. If he gets it close enough again, that is a tough pitch to deal with.
The batter, Kevin Pillar. He's got some very good numbers against Gausman. He's 8 for 17 in his career against the Baltimore right-hander. Pillar hitting .260 overall on the season.
He likes what he sees from Baltimore pitching, doesn't he? No one over the last 3 years have had more hits against the Orioles than Kevin Pillar. He's had 54.
Jammed him, broken to bat, soft pop-up on the infield for out number 2.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. It's a great time to give your pulse a racing lesson.
Dan Shulman and Pat Tabler, Hazel May with you at Rogers Center. Opening game of a 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles. Blue Jays need a win tonight to move into a tie with Baltimore. Baltimore's a game ahead of them right now. Is Darwin Barney. He's already made some nice plays defensively tonight. And another guy in the lineup because he's a right-handed batter and he's got good numbers against Gausman. Again, if you're just tuning in and saying, what are you talking about? Because he's a right-handed batter. Righties are hitting .371 against Gausman this year. And Barney's 6 for 13 in his career against him. Went up the ladder a little bit right there, and it's 0-2.
I think the secret to hitting Kevin Gausman is don't get to that splitter. Hit the fastball. He'll throw a slider, but we haven't seen too many tonight, have we? It's basically been splitter fastball.
There's the splitter in the dirt, ball 1. Joe Biagini twice has been victimized after there were 2 outs and nobody on. 2 runs in the first, 1 in the third. That runs up and in on Barney. Was a starter in the minors, but of course a reliever with the Blue Jays until earlier this season. He's had some high points as a starter. He's had some low points as a starter as he learns on the fly. Ground ball right at Machado, and that'll end the inning. The Blue Jays go in order. They're down 3-0 at the end of 3.
Those lucky fans receive T-shirts that read, quote, "This just in, hashtag smoke the vote." Now, fans, as a reminder, you can vote up to 5 times a day on BlueJays.com/vote. Voting does end Thursday at midnight. And Dan, Kevin Pillar told me at batting practice that he's making it a personal mission to get his good friend to Miami, saying, quote, "There is no one more deserving."
Certainly he's got a great case, Hazel, and every Blue Jay, with the exception of Justin Smoak, was wearing one of these T-shirts during batting practice today. Every single player had it on. There you can see, hashtag smoke the vote, and they're really pulling for their teammate to get the start.
You going to wear yours tonight, or maybe tomorrow? Maybe. I got mine yesterday at the Blue Jays Jays Care golf outing, and I wore mine today.
And they're all over the ballpark tonight.
So get out there and vote. Hashtag smoke the vote. You can vote up to 5 times daily. You have until Thursday midnight.
What do you think? Does he make up the 70,000 vote deficit? As you get a look at BP with Carrera and Liriano and Osuna, everybody, every single player on the team except for Smoak, who of course wouldn't wear one, but everybody else wearing one in support of their teammate.
Do I think they can do it? I think, well, knowing everyone in Canada, he might do it tonight.
Yeah, you might be right.
You know what? We saw what they did for Michael Saunders last season, getting Michael into the All-Star game.
And Smoak's not the kind of guy who really, you know, wants a lot of attention heaped upon him. He's kind of an aw shucks kind of guy, keeps to himself, but boy, he's got to be proud on the inside of the season that he's had.
Yeah, when I talked to him about it, he kept saying, "Hey, thank you very much. That's awfully nice. Thank you, you guys, for pushing it." He's a baseball player. He doesn't want to campaign for trying to get into an All-Star. He goes, if I deserve it, if I get voted in, or if I get selected to get in, you know, that would be great. But he's not going to campaign for it. But he just kept saying, "Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. Just trying to do my job," kind of thing.
Josh Donaldson started the game 2 years ago. Jose Bautista has started 4 times as a Blue Jay in the outfield from 2011 through 2014. So the Blue Jays have had some recent players elected as starters. And obviously every team gets a representative. Smoak's going. I mean, there's no way in the world Smoak's not going to the All-Star game, but another feather in his cap if he's voted in as the starter.
I like his chances. The way people get behind their players. And the Blue Jays are at home. They're home now for up until the voting ends on Thursday.
2-1 the count on Wellington Castillo, the catcher for the Orioles. Grounded out his first time up. Terrific play by Barney, who made a play on the shortstop side of the bag, and a good strong throw to get him easily.
He just took a couple of steps closer to up the middle.
This one will take Pillar back and into right center, but he's got room. 2 down.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV.
Two down here in the top of the 4th. Orioles and Blue Jays. Baltimore leading 3-0. Opening game of a 3-game series before the Red Sox come to town over the weekend, which also happens to be, amazingly enough, Canada Day weekend. How could it be almost July? It'll be a scene in here on Saturday afternoon, as it always is.
And looking at my pitching matchups, I think Chris Sale,
I think you're right,
is scheduled to pitch that day.
You know, Tabby, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. He's been.
I don't have to face him.
Man, has he been lights out this year? I mean, every year. But. And pitch a little bit low. 2-1 on Kim. Yet right now it looks like Chris Sale and Francisco Liriano. Saturday afternoon here at Rogers Center for the middle game of that series. Red Sox and the Yankees in a virtual tie for top spot in the AL East heading into action tonight. New York's 41-33. Boston is 42-34. The Rays 3 back. The Orioles 4.5 back. The Blue Jays 5.5 back. And the Blue Jays 3.5 back in the wild card race. John Gibbons saying a couple of times before the game today he thinks his team is fortunate to be where they are, considering how many things have not gone right for them in the first half of the year. There's a 2-out walk. This is the third time in 4 innings where Biagini's gotten the first 2 outs, and then the Orioles have gotten somebody aboard.
Yeah, Blue Jays just 5.5 games out of first place. Every team, I think, in the American League East has had its problems at some point. The Yankees have lost 10 out of 12, I believe. The Orioles have had some problems. Blue Jays had a bad April. I think the team that goes on its first a good winning streak, 9 out of 11, 11 out of 14. One of those are the guys who's going to take control of this division. Especially if you happen to be able to do it when you're playing the other teams in the division, and you can damage them as well. That's the kind of stretch the Blue Jays are in right now. Giannis trying to bunt his way aboard, and he bunts right through it. 1-1. Fouls off the curveball. 1-2 now on the Orioles shortstop. Biagini's up to 70 pitches now through 3 2/3. Last start his command was really good. He was using the curveball a little bit more. He was able to move his fastball around the strike zone. Pitched into the 6th inning. He's got good stuff. There's no question about that. He wants to challenge him inside. DeMarlo Hale is back with the Blue Jays. Missed the road trip after the loss of his father, the passing of his father, but he is back with the team today. Our condolences to DeMarlo and his family. 2-2 to Giannis. Lays off the breaking ball. Leadoff man Seth Smith is on deck should the inning continue. So Kim will be on the move. Smokes come off the bag, playing behind the runner right now. There he goes, and the 3-2 chop foul, third base side. For Biagini, extra pitches and damage after it looked like he had an inning well in hand a couple of times. First inning, that two-out walk to Jones after the hit by Scope, and now a 2-out walk here. Wow. Ball 4. Good looking pitch. Russell Martin wanted that one. And Pete Walker on the phone. They're going to get somebody up in the bullpen. You know, when you can't or you don't throw balls consistently where you want to, where that catcher wants it, even the ones just off the plate, you're not going to get. So now 2 walks with 2 outs. And Chris Smith, just called up today, is going to get up in the bullpen. Has never pitched in the big leagues. Here's Smith. So Seth Smith is the batter. Chris Smith is up in the pen. Dwight Smith Jr. was optioned out today, and Joe Smith is making progress on the disabled list right now. Well, he's got to have some butterflies right now. Yeah, doesn't he? Never pitched in the big leagues. Get up, start throwing. Would like to see him start an inning. I want to bring him in with runners on base, facing the middle of this lineup. But that's what John Gibbons does. Gibby says, hey, if I get these guys up here, I want to get them in here as quickly as possible into a ball game. Don't want them sitting around.
Originally a Yankee draftee. He's been in the Blue Jays organization the last couple of years. Smith with good numbers at AAA this year. Martin doing the talking and Biagini doing the nodding.
We're seeing this a lot, especially when teams who are so familiar with themselves, like in the American League East, when they get that runner out at second base. Just to let them know this is the sign that we're going to use.
The 1-1. Well located fastball there, 1-2. Crowd trying to help Biagini out a little bit, help him out of this jam. Back-to-back walks after 2 are out. 1-2 on the way. Curveball down and in, gets away from Martin to the backstop, and the runners will advance.
At times he's had problems throwing that curveball and changeup for strikes, but when he does throw strikes, he gets clean innings. Second inning, 1-2-3. He retired the first 2 batters in the third inning very quickly, but then loses his command. So Gibby was saying today, he says he's a good pitcher when he's throwing strikes. His problems that he has had is when he can't locate his pitches, and right now the curveball and changeup just hasn't located them consistently.
Base hit now could score a pair. The 2-2 swing and a miss. He got him to strand the runners. Biagini's got to work for it, but he does get out of it. The Orioles will leave 2 men on, still 3-0 Baltimore. Go to try to ignite the offense a little bit with the one of the big changes, Jose Bautista going to the leadoff spot and including his base hit tonight. He has certainly done his part.
Just like last year in May when the Bautista went to Gibby and some of the veterans went to Gibby and said we got to change things up. That was in May in Minnesota. Put him up in that leadoff spot. The team went 25-15. Jose had a big day on Sunday, 4 RBIs. That matched his RBI total from his previous 24 games combined. So the bottom of the lineup was getting on for him, and he was knocking them in on Sunday.
Bautista, Martin, and Donaldson. Blue Jays with just 1 hit through 3 innings. The Bautista bloop single off Kevin Gausman, who again comes in with an ERA of about 6.5, but just over 2.5 against the Blue Jays. So whatever it is that other teams are doing to have success against him, the Blue Jays have not been able to figure it out.
He was better his last time out against Cleveland. Command was better, Buck Showalter saying he was good, that his command was better. It was only like a 4 or 5 batter problem that he had in that game where he gave up single home run. So stay close. That's all you can do. Just keep battling them.
How big in your mind is this series and this 2-week stretch the Blue Jays are starting right now?
I think it's huge. I think it's huge. It's not just this 2-week stretch, then the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, there's a 3-city road trip that has a chance to be really tough. At Detroit, at Boston for 4, and then at Cleveland for 3. And that'll take you about a week before the trade deadline.
Right. 3-2 foul back.
But what the Blue Jays are, they're not thinking about this homestand. They're thinking about today. That's all that you can control. When you talk to the players, you talk to some of the coaches, they're not thinking about the Boston Red Sox over the weekend.
Bautista gets jammed and pops it up 1 down as we check in again with Jamie.
The plan is then he was supposed to throw today, then 5 days later he's going to throw again, and then they're going to find out if he's going to come back.
Martin gives it a ride deep left, but caught just shy of the track by Kim. So they'll give him another start. You're saying 5 days from now, Sunday, which would be July the 2nd, and then all going well, he could make a start for the Blue Jays before the All-Star break.
If all things go well, they're going to evaluate him after that second start, see where he is.
Boy, that means if he comes back against Houston.
That's what everybody keeps saying. Is that a good thing? I don't know. I certainly would like to have Aaron Sanchez throwing against them. But from there, it said we'll just have to see. Yep. Sunday before the All-Star break, that's what everybody's pointing to. Not the Blue Jays, mind you. It's what everybody around the clubhouse is saying. The writers.
Josh Donaldson, Angel Hernandez in conversation after that first pitch called strike. Donaldson retired on a fly ball to right his first time up. The Orioles with 2 in the first, 1 more in the third, and they lead 3-0 as the Blue Jays bat here in the bottom of the 4th. Good take there on the appeal, didn't go, and it's 2-1. Red Sox got out of the gate a little bit late tonight. There was a weather delay in Boston. The Red Sox are hosting the Twins tonight, and they're scoreless in the top of the 2nd. The Yankees and White Sox are scoreless in the bottom of the 1st. The Rays have a 1-0 lead on Pittsburgh, bottom 5 in Pittsburgh. Rick Jacoby, like everybody else, just trying to figure out how to get this offense to improve from what it's been most of the season. This might help. Will it stay fair? It will not. Hit a ton and then some, but just found. Donaldson still looking out there as if he doesn't quite believe that it was foul. Naked eye, it looked foul. Did it look foul to you?
Yeah, it looked foul from up here. John Gibbons is going to take a look at it. Marlo Hale on the horn to see, and saying that's foul. Boy, that thing got out of here in a hurry. It looked like a splitter, and he turned on it. And that's in front of that foul pole, foul netting all the way.
2-2 again, fouled back.
Tell you what, watching Josh in this at bat, he is really starting to time him up. Fastball splitter. That's what he is seeing from from Gausman. He was late on the fastball the first couple of swings. That last one, he was right on. Pitch number 8 of this at bat.
Donaldson doesn't bite. The count's full. Justin Smoke would get an opportunity if Donaldson can get aboard. Three-2 on the way. And it's strike 3 called at the knees to end the inning. And to 4, and the Blue Jays still down 3-0. Time now for an update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Greg Zaun in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Zone contest. On any Tuesday, post a video or a photo of you showing your Blue Jays spirit along with hashtag TD Tuesday and @Blue Jays to Twitter or Instagram. For details and rules, visit bluejays.com/TD contest.
Hazel, thank you. We go top 5, 3-0 Orioles, out hitting the Blue Jays 4-1. Mark Trumbo with a 2-run double. Adam Jones with an RBI single. Joe Biagini back out for the 5th, about to throw his 80th pitch of the night. And it's curveball just outside for ball 1 to Manny Machado, who's grounded out twice tonight. Chris Smith, just summoned from the minors today, was up at the bullpen in the 4th inning. The bullpen is quiet as we begin the 5th.
Be careful if you go inside. Joe's got that ability to get on top of the ball just a little bit more, and when he applies pressure to one of his fingers can make the ball sink. So when he goes inside to a right-hander, it's not necessarily a four-seamer and straight, it's sinking. Tough to get that ball in the air.
Pop back out of play. Jones a good night, a walk and a base hit. Has driven in one of the Orioles' runs tonight. Biagini's fallen behind 3-1. And the pitch. Went with a changeup there, and he missed low to walk him for Biagini, the 4th walk he's given up tonight.
Hurry in for our lowest prices of the year at the Great Canadian Paint Sale on June 21st to 28th at Home Hardware.
Blue Jays have the bullpen going again. This time it's Dominic Leone. Jonathan Schoop, the batter. He's got a single and a double. And has scored a couple of runs as Biagini drops in a changeup for a first pitch strike.
That's been an inconsistent pitch for him tonight. He hasn't been able to get the touch on that changeup. You have to change speeds with the Orioles. They are a very good fastball hitting team.
The Scopes average, as you talked about after his last hit, he's up to an even 300 right now. Came in at 295, and the 2 hits have him up to 300. How about a second baseman hitting 300 with 15 home runs before the All-Star break?
Not too shabby. Some power. I just think he's going to keep getting better and better and better. He's got some bat speed. He's built like a first baseman. He's a Manny Machado clone for me. Big, strong. They came up together, played together in the minor league system for the Orioles. They're best of friends. They're always kidding each other, having fun with each other. Said they're like brothers.
Biagini shakes to the pitch that he wants from Martin. And the 1-2 ground ball to short. Tulowitzki underhand Barney on to first. Double play.
Well, that's what Joe does. He gets ground balls. So after a leadoff walk, if you can make a pitch, you can get the ball on the ground. He's got more ground balls than fly balls. Good pitch there to finish off Schoop. Let the defense do the rest. 6-4-3. Blue Jays have turned 64 double plays now this season.
So 2 down and the base is empty for Jones, who has walked and singled. Fouled off 0-2. Going to be such an interesting few weeks in the American League with so many teams tightly bunched. A month from now, both of these teams could be contenders. Both of these teams could be out of it. One could be in, one could be out. One could be a buyer, one could be a seller. And it's that way throughout the American League. It's so different than it is in the National League right now.
What if there's no clear-cut decision?
High in the air to shallow left.
I think you play to win because there's so many games to play.
Going bottom 5 at Rogers Center. Justin Smoak's going to lead it off for the Blue Jays. He'll be followed by Kendrys Morales and then Troy Tulowitzki. Flyaway contest is now on. Enter for your chance to cheer on the Blue Jays in New York City with WestJet. Go to BlueJays.com/WestJet contest to enter. And you see the This Justin, the Justin Smoke t-shirt says the Blue Jays try to get Justin Smoke into the All-Star game as a starter. Go to BlueJays.com. That's where you can vote. And the last voting, Hazel told you about this earlier tonight. Smoke had closed within about 71,000 votes of Eric Hosmer of Kansas City for the lead at first base in the American League. The deadline is midnight Thursday night. You've got just over 48 hours.
On your mark, get set, go. BlueJays.com/vote.
Pitch to hit right there, and he fouled it off 1-2.
Watching him this season, watching Justin Smoke approach at the plate, it's like he is sitting on the breaking ball. He's had so much problems in the past with the breaking ball, swinging at that ball in the dirt. So he's looking for it and adjusting to that fastball. That was just a good pitch right there, fastball in. And what that does is that puts it in your frame of mind of, okay, I'm going to look for the breaking ball. I'm anticipating an off-speed pitch. You see fastball out of his hand, you can adjust to that. Just quicken up your swing. It's tough if you're sitting on the fastball with all these hard throwers, and then they wham, throw you one of those wipeout breaking balls. You've got swing on your mind. I think what it also does when you think about hitting the breaking ball first, it slows you down. Slows your swing down, slows your approach at the plate.
Angel Hernandez is going to make the call at the plate, saying that Smoke went around, and no argument from Justin on the plate. Fourth strikeout of the night for Gausman.
Looked like the splitter one more time from Gausman, and it is. That one's going to go away from the left-handed hitting Smoke. His strike percentage, strikeout percentage has gone way down this year. Tonight, he's on his game. Strikeout number 4.
Kendrys Morales struck out in his at-bat back in the second inning. That was a strikeout throw-out double play. Smoke caught stealing on the play. At the knees, 1-1.
Blue Jays have to figure out a way to score runs without hitting a home run. That's been a problem or Achilles heel for him all season long. You're going to be running into some pretty darn good pitching over the next couple of weeks.
Even with the injuries they've had, and some of the players have kind of struggled below their career norms this year, it's still strange to see this team 14th out of 15 teams in the American League in runs scored this year. I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, things aren't going well, they're 8th or they're not. They're 14th. They're only ahead of the Kansas City Royals.
And it's basically same team. I mean, Edwin Encarnacion and Kendrys Morales, their numbers are about the same. So I think that's an even trade right now.
Line into center, a base hit. Let's get an update with Jamie Campbell. Now the Red Sox got off to a bit of a slow start this season, but generally speaking have been playing better of late. As we mentioned earlier, they come into tonight's action in a tie for top spot in the American League East with the Yankees.
Playing the Twins. Twins are 23-10 on the road this year.
Yeah.
How about that?
And 16-25 at home. Tulowitzki looks at a first pitch strike.
He was very aggressive in that Kansas City series and had a couple of nice games against the Royals. Tulo singled in his final at bat He also homered on Saturday. Had a multi-hit game on Saturday. Got a multi-hit game on Friday. Staying aggressive.
Lineup feels a lot longer when Tulowitzki's swinging the bat well. Generally speaking, in the 6th spot right now. The 1-1 lays off in the dirt, ball 2.
He missed so much time, 31 games. I mean, a month. Tulo's only up to 150 at bats this year. That's right around the time you start to get into a nice little rhythm and start to get your timing at the plate.
Morales the lead at first, 1 down in the inning. And a swing and a foul tip, 2-2. Gausman at 81 pitches right now as he works with 1 out of the 5th inning. The Blue Jays with just 2 hits off him. He's walked 1. He struck out 4.
He's had trouble putting away hitters this year with 2 strikes.
Fly ball right center. Easy play for Adam Jones. 2 down.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by Samsung QLED TV. Experience Canada's team in all the colors of the game with the next innovation in TV.
2 down, bottom 5, roof open here at Rogers Center. The Orioles on top of the Blue Jays 3-0. Blue Jays have a man on at first, Kendrys Morales, and here's Steve Pearce, who struck out at his first at bat. That was back in the 3rd.
Steve was talking about the reset button that he pushed when he was down in Florida today. Got off to a tough start for the Blue Jays. This is his first season here. He's trying too hard. Swing got a little bit long. Hurt his calf, went down to Florida and said basically I reset the season. Found my stroke down there. When he came off the disabled list and started hitting the ball with authority, especially pulling it to left field. Then he banged that knee against the wall in Texas. Missed a couple of games. As a manager, you don't want guys who are swinging the bat like that to miss much time.
In there with the strike, 1-1. So Ezequiel Carrera is back off the DL for the Blue Jays. Do you think, other than tonight, because of Gausman's numbers against righties, and that's why the Blue Jays have so many righties in there, do you think it settles back into a Carrera-Pierce platoon out on left field?
Soft platoon, if you will. They'll take a look at the numbers every single day and they'll find out lefty righty who has better numbers against that day's pitcher. Gausman's had trouble against righties.
That's going to find a hole. And Morales will come around to 3rd on the base hit by Pearce.
Well, there's one instant where the shift hurt the Baltimore Orioles. The shift can take away base hits. It can also give you base hits. They've got 3 infielders on the right side. Basically nobody on the right side. 3 on the left side, and that thing squirted through. It was hit soft enough and just out of the reach of scope that Morales can go 1st to 3rd. Baltimore shifts, and then they shift within at bats depending on the count. Look, Showalter's team that time thought Pearce was going to pull it, crossed up the defense, and now Pilar has a chance to do some damage.
First time the Blue Jays have had a runner in scoring position tonight. They've got men at 1st and 3rd, and Pilar takes just down and away for ball 1. Pilar popped up his first time up. We mentioned then how strong his numbers are against Gausman. Even with the out tonight, he's still 8 for 18. A .444 average in his career against the right-hander. Fly ball to right field, medium depth. Smith there, and the Blue Jays will leave a couple of men on. They get their best chance of the night thus far, but can't capitalize.
Central signing season brings you the news and breaks down all the NHL free agent moves. Get it first on Sportsnet. Begins at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Dan.
You ever hear the line, Tabby? There are only 2 seasons in Canada, hockey and July.
Hockey in July.
And now in July,
the trade deadline
is when free agency starts.
Oh, free agency.
So maybe there's only 1 season. Well, that's not the case. We know from watching games coast to coast how big baseball season is in Canada as well. Saw that in Seattle. See it all over the place. See it here at Rogers Center. Another big crowd tonight as Joe Biagini is back out there for the 6th inning.
Ride them as long as you can. Probably have a short leash here. So it's not the hockey season and the off season. That's not the 2 seasons.
It's kind of always hockey season.
That's what I was going to say. I thought there was only 1 season.
Have you managed to get to some Leaf games over the years doing Blue Jays games?
I actually went to a Leaf game a couple of years ago, and the thing that was really cool that I've never seen that before is when they pass around the Canadian flag.
Yeah, at the beginning of the night.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. And the fans, man, they get into it.
Mark Trumbo pops one up. Tulowitzki will make the play in foul territory.
Of course, I'm not up here that often in the off
during hockey season.
During hockey season, but I was up here, I think, for the press tour or one of the Canadian youth banquets, something like that, and had a chance to go over and check out a hockey game one night.
Well, if you had fun 2 years ago, you'd have more now because they're good.
Pretty good, aren't they?
They're good, and they're going to keep getting better, I think. So here's Trey Mancini, 0 for 2, strikeout and a pop-up. Play first base, corner outfield spots, DHs sometimes. Got some power.
Chris Davis on the disabled list with an oblique injury. Doesn't look like he's going to be around for a while. So Trey Mancini will get the lion's share over at first base. He opened up some eyes last September when he got called up. Hit a bunch of home runs. Said, well, he fits right in with that team.
You ever have an oblique injury?
I didn't even know what an oblique was when I was playing.
That was going to be my next question. Did anybody you even play? It just wasn't something you heard about then.
I still don't know where an oblique is. It's on your side somewhere, right? Is it your hip or is it your rib?
You may be past the point of your obliques being in jeopardy of being pulled right now.
I thought I pulled one yesterday during the golf tournament.
Base hit into left field for Mancini.
Joe Biagini had handled Trey Mancini his first 2 times up, a strikeout and a pop-up. But with a couple of strikes, that's probably going to be his last pitch of the night.
John Gibbons on his way out to the mound. And that's going to be all for the big right-hander. Dominic Leone will take over for Biagini with 1 out here in the 6th inning. and down outing for Joe Biagini. At times right on top of his game, and at times got the first 2 outs. Tabby couldn't get the third, and that really cost him.
Yeah, 98 pitches tonight, pitches into the 6th inning. Last time out, 5 2/3 innings. You're right, an up and down night. At times looked really good, at other times gave up too many 2-out base hits. He will give way to Dominic Leone. 29th time that Dominic has pitched for the Blue Jays, and he threw on Sunday. Let me tell you, he had his best fastball and his best slider that day. I asked him about that on Sunday. I said, you had a pretty good fastball. I said, yeah, Russell said that was my best fastball that he's had this year. So day off yesterday. Let's hope he brings it again tonight.
In there with a fastball for a strike on the first pitch to Wellington Castillo. 0 for 2 on the night. Leone inherits a runner at first with a 1 out here in the 6th inning. Baltimore 3 and the Blue Jays nothing. Just high.
Yeah, he's the type of pitcher, max effort, and you can just give it to either finish off this inning. That's what John Gibbons might be trying to get from Leone. Snap off a couple of sliders. That's a good fastball.
Blue Jays with a 7-man bullpen right now. A couple of lefties in Loop and Beliveau. And from the right side, Leone, Barnes, Tepera, Chris Smith, the rookie just summoned today, and Roberto Osuna. If you weren't with us earlier, some roster moves from the Blue Jays before the game, including Jason Grilli being designated for assignment, which in effect means he'll either be claimed on waivers from another team, which is unlikely because then they would have to take his contract. More likely is that the 10 days will pass, he'll be released, then somebody will sign him to the prorated minimum, with the Blue Jays being obligated to pay the rest.
There's no doubt in my mind someone will pick him up.
Yeah.
You know what they mean to him. It's unfortunate. He's one of the best guys that I've met in this game. True pro. And it's a tough day for the Blue Jays having to let him go, but they're just saying we just couldn't find the innings that we needed for him. They were looking for some multiple inning guys, and that wasn't happening here for him.
3-2 high fly ball left center field. Pierce tracking it and has room, edge of the track, 2 down as we check in with Jamie. Kansas City, an interesting team, just took 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays. They're kind of moving back into the conversation right now, and they're a team that if they are out of it, they've got some pieces that they could sell that would really make things interesting.
Do they ever have some pieces to sell? I mean, they risk losing some of their highest draft picks and some of the most successful players that they've had in their franchise history and getting nothing for them.
Well, Hosmer's a free agent. Moustakas is a free agent. Those are 2 players teams would like to have.
The shortstop, Alcides Escobar.
Yep. How about Kelvin Herrera? Teams would like to have him.
Yeah. Kane, Lorenzo Kane, a free agent.
Yep.
After this year, I mean, they've put their eggs in one basket. They've had a great run. Now they feel like they have another one in them. Talking to them over the weekend, the people around Kansas City, they feel like they have a run in them. That's a winnable division.
The Indians and Twins have been trading the lead back and forth over the last few days. The Twins swept them to take over the division lead, and Cleveland had a crazy win yesterday. 15-9.
Down 7 or 8 to nothing.
Yeah.
Came all the way back to win it.
So entering play tonight, the Indians a half game up on Minnesota. Texas and Cleveland tied at 1. Minnesota trailing the Red Sox 2-0. Looks like the rain has come back in Boston. They're in another delay at Fenway. 3-0 the count. And there's ball 4. Mancini to second, Kim to first on the walk. Meanwhile, in the East, a dead heat between the Yankees and Red Sox entering play tonight. Tampa Bay 3 out. Orioles 4.5 and the Blue Jays 5.5. At no point all season have the Blue Jays been better than tied for 4th. They have never looked down on a team in their own division all season as Kim gives way to a pinch runner.
Joey Rickert over at first base. There's Rickert with a little bit more speed, a little bit better defender as we get a little bit deeper in the game. Blue Jays have been .500 one time this year. Zip zip.
That's, yeah, I can even count zip zip. I don't think that counts.
I don't think it does either.
Well, we know they're 0-9 when a win would get them to the 500 mark. That's become kind of the big stat for them. There have been several days this year where the Blue Jays have been 1 game under and 1 game out of the second wild card spot. Right now they're 3 games under, 3.5 games out, so a little further away. But like so many other teams in the American League, as you said earlier, you're kind of a hot streak away from getting right back into it.
And that second wild card really keeps everybody in play unless you're totally out of it. Even Chicago, the White Sox, they've only won 32 games. They still have a shot.
Yep. Paul Janisch slips one in the air to shallow center. Catch made by Pilar to end the inning. With no damage done, Leone takes over for Biagini. Blue Jays still down though 3-0.
Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. Joey Rickert remains in the game in left field after pinch running for Hyun-Soo Kim. We go to the bottom of the 6th. And a 3-0 lead for the Orioles as Darwin Barney looks at a strike from an effective Kevin Gausman tonight. Barney's second at bat, grounded out to third his first time up. Line to right field, and Smith is there. Looked like he might have been battling the lights a little bit there, but he made the catch.
He was battling the lights. Those low liners like that into the outfield, they stay in that bank of lights. He had to deal with it, and luckily for him, it came out right at the last second. Still twilight also. Not much background behind those lights to pick up the baseball.
So twice through the order. Gausman's been very good. Bautista up for the 3rd time. Had a base hit into center field his first time up, and then popped up in the 4th.
Seems like Gausman's tinkering on the mound has helped him hit that fastball in the outside corner to right-handers.
Moving to the other side of the rubber.
Yeah, to open it up. He was always a guy that threw across his body and was inconsistent with his strikes. I'm going to try it again.
Up the middle, a base hit. And Schoop had been moving around during the at-bat. to shift or not to shift, and he wound up going to his left, and that cost the Orioles.
That's exactly what happened. I told you that they shift within at bats depending on the count and the hitter. He was lined up right over second base. That's strike two. Now watch him. He walks over behind the bag trying to close off that hole. And if he had just stayed where he was, that ball would have been right at him. But now he has shifted over, thinking that Bautista's going to go the other way, and he goes right back through the middle. That is twice tonight that the Blue Jays have beaten the shift.
Fourth hit of the night for the Blue Jays. Here's Russell Martin, 0 for 2. Martin grounded into a double play in the first, flied out in the fourth. The Blue Jays have grounded into more double plays than any team in the American League this year. The 1-0. Check swing foul off, a ball and a strike.
You know, it's hard to believe about that. As Michael Gibbons is up now starting to throw for the Baltimore Orioles. This is a fly ball hitting team. The Toronto Blue Jays, they hit a lot of home runs. They get a lot of doubles, extra base hits. So I'm surprised that they lead the league in grounded into double plays. Doesn't have anything to do with speed.
One and just off the outside corner. A little pacing by Buck Showalter, got his bullpen up. A win for the Orioles tonight. They get back to the 500 mark. Out in front, 2-2. Doing just enough to keep them off balance tonight.
Spotting his fastball when he needs to, throwing that changeup and that splitter when he needs to. Well, you get him on. His on-base percentage has been better. His at-bats have been better since they put him in that number 2 hole. You get him on. I like my chances with Donaldson. And he'll have a shot. 3-2.
Donaldson on deck. Bautista kicking at the dirt. Was not running in this situation in the first inning. Don't think he would be running down 3 in the 6th inning. Although when he wasn't running in the first is when Martin grounded into that double play. He is running, and it's bounced foul.
He had flashbacks of that first inning. John Gibbons said, I got to take my chances here. Stay out of that double play.
Going again, and it's ball 4. 2 men on will bring Donaldson to the plate as the tying run as we check in with Jamie for an update. A couple of men on as he gives way to Michael Givens here in the 6th inning, and the Blue Jays looking for that one big swing of the bat, Tabby.
Yeah, maybe Josh Donaldson can provide that. It's going to be tough against Michael Givens. 6-0 with a .241 earned run average. He leads all major league relievers with 6 wins this season. Givens is a hard throwing right-hander, fastball slider combination.
And that one's going to get off the glove of Castillo back towards the on-deck circle. The runners will advance.
That one just a little bit too hard right there. He tried to get ahead of Josh Donaldson with a first pitch slider. Tried to overthrow that one. And the double play is taken out now. That one just off the glove of Castillo as Givens overthrows that one for ball 1.
Wild pitch charge to Givens. 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Way outside again, and this time Castillo has to dive to stop it from going to the backstop. Yeah, that's not what Buck Showalter wants to see from a reliever, a trusted reliever.
This is a good relief corps that the Orioles have. What a play by Castillo to save a run. Do you know how difficult that is, coming in there at 95 miles an hour?
And Donaldson, remember when he was called out on strikes in the 4th inning on a fastball down around the knees, did not like it, had a conversation with Angel Hernandez at the end of that inning, and he's even more unhappy with that call here. So it's 2-1. See, PitchCast has it right at the knees, which is right about the same spot it had the pitch that Hernandez rung Donaldson up on back in the 4th inning.
That's the guy you want up right there. 10 RBIs, crisp. Givens can carry that fastball to the lower parts of the strike zone. Well, this is nothing new.
Bautista at 3rd, Martin at 2nd with 1 down. 2-1. He's thrown 3 sliders. He's missed badly with all 3.
Yeah, he hasn't found that release point yet.
So if you're Donaldson, you can take the slider right out of the equation now, can't you?
Sit on the fastball. Sit on the fastball. If he throws you the slider, go ahead and take it. This is the value of having Justin Smoak hitting behind you.
Wow. Slider.
Yeah. He throws the slider. You've got a proven RBI guy behind you.
Bautista singled with a 1 out in the inning. Martin walked. They both advanced on a wild pitch. Smoak on deck. Full count on Donaldson. Big moment here in the bottom of the 6th inning. John Givens' team desperately looking to get some offense going. Still a long way to go in this game. One swing of the bat could change it. Liner to 3rd. Hit it hard, but right into Machado. 2 down.
Tough to get the ball by Machado. He's so long and he's so quick. That one was an easy play. It was right at him. Good swing by Donaldson. Looked like it was 2 RBIs. Smokes that ball. But it's hooking right into the glove of Machado. The Baltimore Orioles, the last 2 years, have had a setup man make it to the All-Star game. Darren O'Day in 2015, Brad Brock last year. Maybe Michael Givens is 2017's version.
Shift on against Justin Smoak. Bautista can really come a long way down the line from 3rd because Machado is halfway between 3rd and 2nd, and now Machado's asking for instructions. Where do you want me to play? They're going to back him off even further. Bautista can come way down the line. Any kind of short wild pitch, slider in the dirt. like
There
that.
it is. And he doesn't come.
He hesitated and had to go back.
You were all over that one, partner. Gibbons has shown that he has been wild the first two batters that he has faced here in the 6th inning. Nobody near Bautista at third base. He can take 10 more steps off, but there's the hesitation.
I wonder if he didn't see the ball, though, because if Castillo was between, here's a good look at what Bautista sees, and he may not have seen the ball in enough time. But he can literally get halfway down. He can get further than that.
Yeah.
He can get as far down the line as he wants. Machado's a rumor. He's way out there. 3-0. The Blue Jays have one hit this year on 3-0 counts. They've only swung or only put it in play 10 times. They're 1 for 10. It was a Bautista home run
The other day against Jason Hamlin.
Yep. Ball 4. Bases are loaded for Kendrys Morales.
He wanted no parts of Justin Smoak.
Morales tonight is 1 for 2. He's 0 for 3 with a strikeout in his career against Gibbons. He doesn't look any more comfortable sitting than he did pacing. But you can hardly blame him or any major league manager for feeling that way.
It's June. Long way to go.
Bases loaded, 2 down. 3-0 Orioles and a foul off to the left. Bautista, Martin, and Smoak aboard, and again Jose coming down the line basically as far as he wants. You know, Luis Rivera is keeping an eye on Manny Machado, but Machado is 45 to 50 feet away from third base.
And you're taught you're supposed to go as far as the third baseman will allow you. If he's 45 feet off the bag, you should go 45 feet. Morales liked that pitch. That was a fastball, and he's a good fastball hitter. He missed his pitch.
Gibbons out in front of 1 and 2. And the pitch. And Morales chases. And the Blue Jays will leave the bases loaded here in the 6th inning. Gibbons climbed the ladder up and away from him. Morales couldn't hold up. Inning over. In the third, had some very good innings. Into the 2 innings into which there was damage done, he had 2 men out with nobody on base, and then the Orioles got to him. The man got away from him a little bit at times, and he winds up giving up 3 earned runs in 5 1/3 in his 10th major league start.
Those 4 walks pushed up his pitch count a little bit too quickly for him, but only one of those walks came around to score. Joe pitches into the sixth inning for the 2nd straight start. 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 punch outs. Now it's up to the bullpen to hold it right there and see if the offense can break through.
Dominic Leone back on the mound after getting the last 2 outs of the 6th inning. Leadoff man Seth Smith is up for the Orioles. He's 0 for 3. Tomorrow night it'll be Wade Miley for the Orioles, Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Blue Jays, and then on Thursday night Ubaldo Jimenez and Jay Happ. Then the Red Sox come to town over the weekend, featuring a Chris Sale start on Canada Day on Saturday.
That's a day game.
That's a 1 o'clocker.
Oh, wipe the sleep out of your eyes because you're going to be facing some good pitching that day.
Be a lot of red in the ballpark for the Blue Jays and their fans that day against the Red Sox. So it's always I think one of the highlights on the schedule.
It is so cool. If you ever have a chance to be a part of it, I'm sure the Blue Jays will be wearing some kind of red in their red outfits. Get your red tie out.
You got any red ties?
I've got it all laid out already. I ironed it today. It's all ready for Saturday.
You know what? I actually believe you. You're telling the truth, aren't you?
Yeah.
You ironed your Saturday tie on Tuesday.
I do the whole homestand on one day.
That's great.
I got all my ironing done. I don't like to iron, man.
Can you do mine tomorrow?
Absolutely not. I don't like to iron. So if I have to do it, I got one day.
That's fair.
Suck it up for one day.
Right.
Dominic Leone's got that fastball working again tonight. The thing I like about him, he's got a wipeout pitch that can end at bats.
Went with a curveball there, but he missed high ball 3.
Got underneath that one just a little bit.
Manny Machado on deck, then Jonathan Schoop. The Orioles are 7-2 against the Blue Jays this season. Blue Jays have really struggled within the division. It's 12-19 in the American League East as Leone strikes out Smith.
There's that good fastball we were just talking about from Dominic Leone, the riser. 4-seamer. You see the fingers go against those seams, 4 seams, and he rises to pick up the strikeout.
Machado is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Blue Jays don't have a winning record against any team in the American League East. 6-6 against Tampa. This is their chance right here. 3 straight series against American League East.
There's that slider. Well, John Gibbons knows as well as anybody it's not that early anymore. It's almost July. Trade deadline at the end of July. They've got to give management a reason to try to go out and bolster the team.
Stay close. It's a good matchup right here. Power pitcher versus a power hitter. Machado's average is not where we normally see Manny Machado, but power numbers are there. He's got 15 home runs.
As good a defensive player as there is in baseball. You think of Kevin Kiermaier, outfielder for Tampa Bay. Andrelton Simmons, great shortstop. Pilar wants it. 2 down. An update with Jamie. All right, Jamie, thank you. Back here, 3-0 Baltimore. 2 down and the bases empty for Jonathan Schoop. 2 for 3, single and double, and a couple of runs scored. Big swing and a miss, 0-1. Well, Leone doing his job so far. He's gotten 4 outs, trying to finish off 2 last inning, 2 this inning, trying to finish off the Orioles. Blue Jays just had their best chance. They had second and third, 1 out on the 6th. Donaldson hit the ball hard, but lined out to Machado at third after a smoke walk low to the bases. Morales struck out.
They had the right guys up there, didn't they? Just couldn't come through. Smoke is a free swinger. This one close. Got away with one.
Morales had a chance, couldn't convert. You see Ezekiel Carrera, if you weren't with us earlier. Carrera is back from a broken bone in his foot. Was gone less than 2 weeks. Dwight Smith Jr. option to Buffalo.
That was the fastest healing
seriously
foot that I've ever seen.
Inning over. Good inning for Leone. 7th inning stretch at Rogers Center. Still 3-0. Against the Blue Jays, Tabby, and he did again tonight.
Yeah, this is about his average, right around 5 and a third innings. It took him 99 pitches to get through there, but he threw up zeros. Blue Jays could only manage 4 hits against Gausman. His fastball was good. His splitter looked like it had some life to it. Diving down, he had 4 strikeouts and just 2 walks. So it's up to the bullpen. Another defensive change for Baltimore. Craig Gentry into the ball game. He will take over for Seth Smith in right field.
40,606 at Rogers Center here tonight as Troy Tulowitzki leads off the 7th inning and looks at a strike. Tulowitzki, Pierce, and Pilar.
There's that nasty slider. This Baltimore Orioles bullpen is rested and ready to go. They had 7 innings by their starter on Sunday. They had an off day yesterday. Luke Showalter was talking about it. He said, I got all my bullets down in that bullpen to try and win game number 1.
And Givens strikes out Tulowitzki on 3 pitches.
Well, you better turn it up a notch when you're facing Michael Gibbons. Yeah, it's an excellent chance. If they take a setup man for that All-Star game, Gibbons might be the guy. He elevates the fastball right here to get Tulowitzki. Since his major league debut in June of 2015, so about 2 years, he's had the 5th most strikeouts in the American League for a reliever.
Ezekiel Carrera into the game to pinch hit for Steve Pearce. When you first heard broken bone in the foot, I don't think anybody would have guessed 2 weeks. Felt like more of a 4 to 6, maybe 6 to 8 kind of thing, but he's back. High fly ball to center. Drifting back Jones, 2 down.
Drive home in the all-new 2017 CR-V. Always a fun way to end the game. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Moving into darkness here in Toronto. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Orioles lead the Blue Jays 3-0. 2 down and the base is empty for Kevin Pillar, who's 0 for 2. Blue Jays have 4 hits tonight. They have left 5 men on. The Orioles 3 runs on 5 hits. They have left 6 men on. The Orioles have just been more opportunistic. They had a good opportunity in the first. Mark Trumbo, a 2-out 2-run double. Adam Jones had a 2-out RBI single to Cashin Scope, who had doubled in the 3rd.
The best hitting it running and score at runners in scoring position, and Blue Jays down towards the bottom hitting with runners in scoring position. That's been the difference in this game.
And coming into tonight, the Orioles as a team on the season were hitting .297 with runners in scoring position, and the Blue Jays, I believe, were at .226. That's a huge difference.
And it's playing out in the game. You said it. The Baltimore Orioles scored their runs with 2 outs with clutch hits. Blue Jays had their best opportunity last inning. Bases loaded and just 1 out.
1-2.
Blue Jays 2 for 17 on Sunday with runners in scoring position, even though they beat Kansas City handily 8-2. It could have been a lot worse. Blue Jays left 12 runners on base.
Ground ball down to 3rd, right at Machado, and the Blue Jays are done in the 7th. We go top 8. Looks like we'll have a new pitcher for the Blue Jays. Ryan Tepera coming on.
Cemented himself as a major league reliever, but ultimately he told me he sees himself as someone who could return to and contribute as part of a starting rotation. Tepera told me he would need to add a 3rd pitch, whether it be a slower breaking ball or a changeup. He admitted one of the things he struggled with in the minors was the consistency of his changeup, and for whatever reason, Tepera said he had a good feel for that pitch this past spring. So at some point, Dan, Tepera sees himself back in a rotation, but right now, as you know, the Blue Jays are getting tremendous production out of Tepera from the bullpen.
Well, you never know. Next year they may have a spot or 2 up for grabs in the rotation, but right now a valuable member of the bullpen as he comes on, Tabby, for the 34th time this season.
You know, we were just talking about All-Star game. I'm not sure if Ryan's going to be able to do that. Ezequiel Carrera will stay in the ballgame and play left field, but he's put up some All-Star numbers for me. 4 wins out of the bullpen, an ERA just over 3, tons of strikeouts, batting average against under 200, both righties and lefties. His slider has been good, and his fastball has been good. Last time out, he pitched in that tough game on Friday night in Kansas City. Came within a pitch here, a pitch there of nailing it down for a save, but just the Royals kept pecking away and eventually won that game with 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th.
Adam Jones leads off the inning for Baltimore. A walk, an RBI single, and a fly ball for Jones tonight. He'll be followed by Trumbo and Mancini, 4, 5, 6 in the Baltimore lineup. Do you think the reason Tepera has done better this year is he's changed what he's throwing, or he's just improved his repertoire? Yeah?
He's improved. He was telling me earlier this season that he feels like his slider's a little bit better. He's changed his grip a little bit on that slider. It's a little bit more consistent. Says, you know, I've stopped nibbling around and started trusting my stuff. And Ryan's got very good stuff. Mid to upper 90s fastball. That's a slider. That's a fly ball to center field. He's got great stuff. So I think experience has done a lot for him.
Drive of the game brought to you by Honda. Proud fan since 1977, an official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
First inning, after 2 outs, a single, then a walk. That brought Mark Trumbo to the plate, and the AL home run leader from a year ago is going to hit a line drive. Look at that thing. Right off the top of the wall to plate the first 2 runs of this ball game. Trumbo now has 37 RBIs. He ends up with a double, and that's also tonight's drive of the game.
He's one of those guys in batting practice where he hits balls to parts of ballparks that most people don't. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Trumbo's in that group.
That swing that he had and the trajectory that we just saw from our high left field camera, that's the kind of ball I wanted to hit on the fairway yesterday.
I was going to say.
That little 2-iron.
Yeah, you golfers call that a 2-iron, huh?
Right down the middle. That thing had some carry to it, didn't it?
1-2. Little run on that fastball at the end. Martin looking at his glove. I don't think he caught that in the part of his glove or the part of his mitt he was expecting to catch it in.
That looked like it might have been a thumb burner right there. So much movement on that fastball.
Sliced into right field. That ball is down and will get to the fence. And Trumbo on his way to second with his second double of the ball game.
Another 2-strike hit for the Baltimore Orioles. Tepera makes a pretty good pitch. Fastball down and away. But Trumbo, just like his double in the first inning where he didn't overswing, watch him on this one. Just uses his hands. Doesn't even finish his swing. Just slices it the other way, and he's so strong. Able to get this ball by Bautista all the way to the wall. Another extra base hit.
That'll bring up Mancini. 1 for 3, hit a base hit into left field his last time up. Bautista makes the catch. Trumbo will tag and come to third with 2 down. And meanwhile, in the Baltimore bullpen, a familiar face, Darren O'Day, recently off the DL and now working in the pen for the Orioles.
Setup man now with Zach Britton on the disabled list. What Showalter said, they're locked and loaded, well rested, and it looks like he's going to use his big three tonight.
And it looks like we'll have an O'Day Bautista at bat. Bautista's due up second, and they've got some history, don't they?
Well, those are always fun, aren't they?
So don't go away. Wellington Castillo is the batter. He pops it back foul below us. They're in close proximity right now. We've had some battles over the years, and Bautista's had a lot of success. He's got 4 home runs and 18 at-bats in his career against O'Day.
It's on 7 hits.
Yep.
Just 7 hits. 4 of them long ones.
0-2. Remember, Tepera had those 2 long outings, Tabby, back near the beginning of the season. Both came in April, and perhaps that was when, as you said, he learned to trust his stuff a little bit. This was before he had become the setup guy, pitching late into ball games, and he went 3 innings in one game, 3 1/3 in another. Didn't give up a run in either one of them.
That's where he gained a lot of confidence. That game in Los Angeles and the game in St. Louis.
Great movement there to strike out Castillo and end the inning. Time now for an update. Again, here are Jamie Campbell and Greg Zaun in the Samsung broadcast studio. By authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Adam Jones lost part of a necklace earlier tonight on a swing, trying to pick up the pieces there. And the Orioles getting some good pitching. They're up 3-0 going bottom 8 as veteran Darren O'Day comes into the game.
Darren O'Day has spent some time on the disabled list this year, but it hasn't stopped him from being successful. He's 1-1 with a .355 earned run average in 26 games this year. Here he is again racking up the strikeouts. He doesn't do it by throwing 95, 97 miles an hour. He has had success in his career versus the Blue Jays. He comes from down under.
Ryan Goins comes on to pinch hit for Darwin Barney. High fly ball, pretty well struck, deep left center. But again, just shy of the track. Rickard back to run it down for out number 1. And that will bring up Jose Bautista. No love lost between Bautista and O'Day.
They have had some battles in the past. Jose's taken him deep. O'Day's actually thrown a ball behind him. Jose took him deep again.
Yep. 7 for 18, 4 homers, 7 walks for Bautista against O'Day. Bautista 2 for 3 tonight. Single in the first, single in the sixth. So he's now 10 for 24 since moving to the leadoff spot. But he's in the hole 0-2.
O'Day just came off the disabled list 4 days ago. He had a right shoulder strain. Put him right into that setup role. Remember, no Zach Britton. He's still on the disabled list. Brad Brach is closing for Baltimore now. With 2 strikes, he likes to go upstairs with his fastball.
Bautista stays alive. Even without Britton, pretty good looking bullpen with Givens, O'Day, and Brach.
They got a couple of lefties who their job is just to get left-handers out.
Brach filling in for Britton as the closer. Britton getting close though. 0-2 again. And there it is, as you were talking about.
Yeah, he comes from underneath like that, and it's an optical illusion for the hitters, like it's a rising fastball, like it's rising up out of the strike zone. It looks hittable, but by the time you swing, O'Day gets underneath this one more than anybody. Look how far he gets underneath it, and here it comes, right about letter high. Tough to catch up to it.
So 2 down in the inning, bases empty, and the batter is Russell Martin, 0 for 2 with a walk. And he'll bounce one into center field, a base hit. A man aboard as Josh Donaldson will come to the plate. Donaldson 0 for 3.
They just keep grinding out at bats. They don't go quietly. You get one more guy on right here. Guess what? Tying runs at the plate.
And it would be Justin Smoak.
And it'd be the right guy.
Donaldson hit the ball hard last time, lined out to third with a couple of men aboard. This one will find the seats off to the right. Did you like hitting against guys like this, side armors like O'Day?
I had to figure out how to hit against them. And the way that I figured it out is you can't cover both sides of the plate, meaning he likes to sink the fastball in and throw that sweeping slider away. So you have to pick one side or the other. And the toughest guy I ever faced, I faced the Kent Tekulves and all them, but Dan Quisenberry was nasty. He could frisbee that bad boy up there, making it awfully tough.
Inning over. Blue Jays will leave another man on. We're at the end of 8. 3-0 Orioles. Chris Smith about to make a major league debut.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2017 Honda Rebel. Live your life. Love your ride.
Top 9 here in Toronto. The Orioles leading the Blue Jays 3-0. Ryan Goins stays in the game at second base after pinch hitting for Darwin Barney. And we have a major league debut right-hander, Chris Smith, just called up today. He's into the ballgame for the Blue Jays.
Opened up the eyes of some of the Blue Jays in spring training with a good arm. He throws 95. Fastball, slider, and Russell Martin out to talk to him before he throws his first big league pitch. There are his numbers. In AAA this year, right? He's had a lot of problems with them. He's pitched in the Blue Jays system for the last couple of seasons. Starting in 2015, he was with the Dunedin Blue Jays. That's where he first started in the organization.
28 years of age, from Louisville, Kentucky. His first pitch comes in high, ball 1 to Joey Rickard. Was up with the Blue Jays last few days of last year, but didn't appear in a game. Got to be doing everything you can to keep that heart rate down a little bit right now, probably.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Being excited. No, don't be intimidated. It's okay to be excited. Just do what you've been doing in AAA.
Donaldson over for a look, has a play.
Well, that'll help the heart rate right there, coming back and getting Joey Rickard. Donaldson gets over to the stands.
You'd like to see the big guy maybe give Donaldson a little more room there to make the play, considering, you know, he's a Blue Jays fan. He's wearing a Donaldson shirt. Maybe give your guy some room there to catch that pop up.
Yeah. Don't run into him.
Yeah.
If you want a baseball, I'm sure Josh will flip you one in between innings.
Paul Janish in the air to center. Just like that, 2 down.
Smith was undrafted, but he did sign with the Frontier League. Pitched a couple of years there before he signed a minor league contract with the New York Yankees. That was in 2013. He signed a minor league contract with the Blue Jays in 2015. That's when he went to Dunedin and New Hampshire.
Coming at him with 95-mile-an-hour fastballs.
That's what impressed him in spring training, when they saw that late life on his fastball.
Joe Biagini, the starter tonight, gave up 3 runs in a 5 1/3 as he chats in the dugout with Devin Travis. There's the slider, and it misses a little bit low, a ball and a strike. Brad Brock getting loose for the bottom of the 9th. Slider in there this time, 1-2. Probably just keep telling yourself it's still 60 feet 6 inches. It's still baseball. It's liner into left, down for a base hit.
Don't try and be too perfect. Just make good pitches. The last thing you want to do is start falling behind these big hitters.
Well, as Pete Walker looks on, Smith in his first ever big league inning will now face one of the most talented players in the game in Manny Machado.
Pitchers have the advantage when you're facing someone for the first time. You know, he's seen Manny Machado on tape. He's got a scouting report what he wants to do. Manny Machado's never seen him. He's no idea what his breaking ball is going to do.
It's funny because Smith has been in the big leagues for a day. He's 28. It seems like Manny Machado's been in the big leagues forever. He's 24. But Smith is the new kid on the block here right now.
4 years older than Manny. changeup. Took a little something off of that one.
Smith taking the roster spot of Jason Grilli, who was designated for assignment earlier today by the Blue Jays. And he hopes to move on to another organization, likely in 10 days. Will sign with someone. It could go a number of different ways, but that's the most likely scenario. And Grilli, classy and upbeat right to the end of his tenure with the Blue Jays. Towards the fans, teammates, you name it.
There's no doubt in my mind he'll find another job somewhere.
He's still throwing 93, 94.
Yeah, they just couldn't find the innings for him.
Grilli fan in attendance. A lot of Grilli fans in attendance. He got popular quick in Toronto. A nice first major league inning for Chris Smith. Going bottom 9. Blue Jays coming up.
Friendly reminder, the Blue Jays need your help to smoke the vote and send Justin Smoak to the All-Star game. You can vote up to 5 times daily. Just head to BlueJays.com/vote before June 29th. Heading to the bottom of the night we go with Dan Shulman and Pat Tabler. Gentlemen.
Hazel, thank you. Blue Jays down 3-0. And a Baltimore closer, Brad Brach, into the game. Done a really nice job as the closer with Zach Britton on the DL the last couple of months.
Yeah, everybody had to step up when Zach Britton went on the disabled list, and Brad Brach, who was an all-star last year, just settles right in as the closer. 13 for 16 in saves, a 243 earned run average. Righties, lefties, both under 200. He creates a very tough hitting plane, if you will. He stays over on that right-hand side. That ball almost comes in like it's sideways out of the hand of Brach.
Justin Smoak, the batter. A couple of walks and a strikeout for Smoak tonight, who is on a 10-game hitting streak right now. Needs a base hit to keep that going. It'll be Smoak, Morales, and Tulowitzki for the Blue Jays. They've had a couple of opportunities here and there. They've had 5 hits tonight. They've left 6 men on. Look at the movement on that pitch.
Pretty nasty. Again, look at the angle that he lets go of that pitch and the angle that it's coming towards home plate. That hit streak that you mentioned for Smoak, it's the 3rd longest streak of his career. It's also his longest since he had an 11-game streak in April of 2011. That's when he was with Seattle, so that's on the line. He's 0 for 1 officially tonight.
You can see BlueJays.com/vote. That's how you can vote for Justin Smoak, who's making up some ground on Eric Hosmer for the first base spot, the starting nod in the All-Star game at first base for the American League. Voting closes Thursday night. The 1-2. Taken just high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He doesn't swing at that anymore. That high fastball.
That's a fair ball, and Smoke is retired. Now, is John Gibbons saying, did that ball hit Smoke's foot?
Well, that's the only thing he can really argue, because this is not a reviewable play. Ball was in front of the umpire, so Gibbons got an argument here. He's definitely has something on his mind.
Yeah. I could read his lips a little bit, and Gibby just said it's your call to Angel Hernandez. Now, on a standard ball, it's the home plate umpire's call until the ball gets to first base.
But that ball went past first base.
Yeah. So I gotta believe that he might be saying maybe it hit Smoke's foot. Smoke's not arguing anything.
Maybe Gibby said Angel called it foul, but it's yes, you're right. It's his call till it gets to the bag.
Right.
But then it got to the bag. Once it got past the bag, it's the first base umpire. Let's watch the home plate umpire. He's got the right hand up,
Yep,
like he's saying foul ball.
Ultimately, I don't think it really matters. Smoke didn't get out of the box very quickly. He was watching the ball down the line. So one way or the other, I think that was going to be an out. I think Smoke expected it to go foul, and it hugged the line, hugged the dirt all the way up to the bag. So 3 unassisted for out number 1, and here's Morales. So barring a comeback and another opportunity one way or the other, the Smoke hitting streak is over. Morales 1 for 3 tonight. We are back with you tomorrow night for the second game of the series. It'll be Wade Miley 3-5 with a 4.48 ERA on the mound for the Orioles. Marcus Stroman 7-4, 3.69 for the Blue Jays. And now Morales strikes out. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central. Here are Ken and Carolyn. Night gang, thank you. Looking forward to that. The Blue Jays, though, down to their final out, trailing 3-0. Troy Tulowitzki 0 for 3.
Ball's behind again. Brad Brock tough on righties. They're only hitting him .67 against him. Little crossfire delivery, and he paints one on the outside corner.
Tulowitzki didn't love that call, but it's 0-2. Frustration for John Gibbons and the Blue Jays tonight. Opening up a huge stretch of their schedule. A lot of games in the division the next 10 days. Baltimore, Boston, Yankees. And a strike away from falling 4 games below the 500 mark. Chris Smith making his major league debut. The other good news, Ken and Carolyn just telling you about it. Aaron Sanchez made a rehab start down in Dunedin. Joe Biagini, the starter for the Blue Jays tonight. 3 runs allowed in 5 1/3.
Hits. It's been missing tonight. Just 5 hits tonight for the Blue Jays. It's a pitcher that has had success against them coming into this game, but overall this season has had some problems. We just couldn't figure him out tonight. Had to play catch up again in the first inning.
Yeah.
That's been a problem for him lately. Falling behind early.
Marcus Stroman on the mound tomorrow night. Two-two. Tulowitzki rips one to left center field. Gone.
He homered the other day in Kansas City. A deep drive. That was a high fastball also. He gets a pitch to his liking. Home run number 4 for Tulowitzki. Brock was painting him down and away with his fastball, missed with a breaking ball, and then tried to get a fastball back out there and left it out over the plate. Tulo smoked that one.
Number 4 on the season. It's 3-1. And the batter now is Ezequiel Carrera.
You miss your spot, and good major league hitters are going to make you pay for it. That one was right where Tulo could handle it. He crushed that thing to left center field.
Again, though, the Blue Jays down to their final strike. Can Carrera somehow get aboard?
Right where he likes it. Home run number 4, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
Pilar would represent the tying run. If Carrera can get on, Pilar comes up with a chance to tie it.
Home run seems to get the crowd.
Sure did.
In a little life.
Yep. Carrera's first day back off the DL after the broken bone in his foot. He came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and hit a fly ball to center field. Tulowitzki giving the Blue Jays some life. But not for long. Brock gets it done as he strikes out Carrera, and that ends the ball game as the Orioles take the opener by a score of 3-1.
We talked about it in the opening. This is a huge homestand for the Blue Jays. It doesn't get off to the start that they wanted. They ran into Kevin Gausman, who had his fastball splitter combination working. Back to the drawing board tomorrow for the Blue Jays, and they've got Marcus Stroman going to the mound.
3-1 the final. The Orioles over the Blue Jays in the opening game of the series. Time now for Sportsnet Central. Let's send you back to the studio. Ken Reed and Carolyn Cameron.